Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast. I'm David Blackman.
I'm Tim Streifler.
Today, we're going to talk about how to stay focused when you're working from home. A couple of years ago, 2020, I would say the majority of workers didn't work from home. Most of them worked in an office. Pandemic hit, life's changed. And Tim and I have known forever that no matter what type of business you have, unless you're building some kind of product or something, that you can work from home. If you had a computer at your office and you were an office worker with a computer, you could do it at home. We've known this for a while. Now, what can you do to stay focused? You got all the distractions of home and, your hobbies, your family. If you got kids, it's going to be kids, your spouse, whatever. There can be potentially a lot of distractions to when working from home. What are some things that you can do to stay focused? Tim, you start us off.
Yeah. So I really quick, I want to say when before the pandemic, as David mentioned, we both been working home for years before the pandemic, and I would meet people and tell me, oh yeah, I work from home, I have my own business, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't do that. Like I couldn't work from home. I just couldn't do it. Like it would just be too hard to get work done, blah blah blah. And I would hear that so often, and so. And there was definitely times where it would be hard and I had to adapt and things I had to do and change and stuff. But when the pandemic hit, everyone started working from home, as David mentioned. And it was like all of a sudden, like people were asking for tips and stuff. And everyone was having to learn how to work from home. They didn't have a choice. They had to do it. And so, yeah, it's just interesting. Now it's like you're seeing people go back to work or working hybrid. A family member of mine just got a new job and he's going to be working from home most of the time. He's going to have to go in 1 to 2 days a week, brand new job. And it's like a hybrid. And that's going to be the new norm where it's going to be fully at home or hybrids and stuff like that. And so, so whether you have your own business or you're working from home for an existing business, here's some of the tips that we learned. My biggest tip that I can say is have a dedicated work area. Right. If you have an entire room that can be your office, awesome. If not, that's okay. Have a dedicated corner of the room, right? If you're working in your bedroom, have a desk in the corner of the room. That's your work area. And you don't go and hang out there when you're not working, and you don't work in other areas of your house. And it's a mental thing, being able to separate your work time and your workplace from your rest and relaxed time and relaxed place. Right. The way the human brain works is place, like location is a big deal. Like it associates place. Like if you think about it, like when you hear a song that maybe you knew like 5 years ago, right? All of a sudden, when you start hearing that song that you haven't heard for a while, it's like you'll think of the place where you were listening to it, and it like your brain location is highly it's a big deal in your brain. And so if you can have a workplace and a rest place, it's going to help you focus and transition so much better than if you work on your bed or you work on your couch and stuff, and there's no separation. It'll be really hard to stay focused and you're going to get distracted a lot. So that's my number one tip. I have a couple others too. I'll let David talk though.
Yeah. Man, I had my main one that I was going to say as you were talking, I was listening to you and I totally forgot it. But, I've got a million other, the first one that comes to my mind outside of what Tim said is if you have family members or other people in the home, you need to set some expectations with them, some boundaries. This is my work time. If there's an emergency, here's what, set up some protocols, some basic protocols and stuff. Because otherwise, if you have kids, for example, and your mom or dad, kids not associating work, you're at home, there's mom or dad, and I can go to them anytime, with anything. And that can be really, really distracting and take you away from your work environment and stuff. So, letting them know when I am in this dedicated space that Tim's talking about, it's kind of a no fly zone unless there's an emergency, Yeah. It doesn't mean that they can't, but just as long as you set those expectations up and stuff, I think that's really, really important. What's your
Yeah,
next one, Tim?
definitely. And it's hard with young kids. Like my son, he's going to be 2 in August, and he's just now at the point where he can open up. He figured out how to open up my office door. And so I hear him, walking and then jiggling the door. He's still getting the hang of it. And then he opens the door. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to start locking that door because he's old enough to be able to do that, but not quite old enough to fully understand that, like, oh,
Yeah.
daddy's working.
Yeah. They don't have that
Um,
concept. Right.
yeah, exactly. So my next tip is, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this, is invest in a good pair of noise canceling headphones. This is a lifesaver. This is especially true if you have kids or a spouse or roommates, other people that are going to be around when you're trying to get work done. Um, invest in a good pair of noise canceling headphones. Now, I'm not one that likes to listen to music when I'm working. I love music, but it's too distracting for me in general. So the only thing I can listen to is instrumental, like piano or classical or something like that. That's not distracting to me. Anything with lyrics and vocals, it's distracting. And so I have, normally we listen to Spotify, but for work, I have Pandora on my computer and I have Peaceful Piano radio station queued up. And then as soon as I sit at my desk, put my headphones on and put on the Peaceful Piano, and then it's loud enough to where I can't hear anything else. The noise canceling helps, and I'm able to get in the zone and get focused. So that's been a huge thing. Which, again, I've been working from home for 6-7 years now, and I just started using these since having a kid and having my wife at home. My wife, would be working out of the house, and so now that she's at home with my son, it became a necessity. So.
Well, Tim is total opposite of me with the music stuff. I'm usually blaring rap out of the speakers and rock and Spotify and all my favorite songs. And
Yeah.
um,
I can't do it while I work. Love it
yeah,
outside of work, but yeah.
yeah, and it's just different. Now, my next recommendation is going to sound counterproductive. How can this help you stay focused? You got to focus on work when you're in work mode. You need to, your physical health and stuff and mental all matters. And one way that can help you stay focused is to take some breaks throughout the day and take a walk. I used to go and walk outside 15 minutes every, few hours. I would just take a nice short 15-20 minute walk. And it was amazing at how focus you could come back and get things done, as opposed to barreling through 8 hours. I'm in this cave of a room here, and you think that if you're in there, you're going to stay focused and stuff, but you're really not. You really need to give your mind a break, come back to things and stuff, and it'll work out a whole lot better for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost every day, as long as the weather's nice, I eat outside. And so I like to get some sun. And I don't, it's not like at least for me, I can't, if I like totally, turn off work mode and take a break, it's hard for me to get back into work mode. So I still am in work mode,
right,
when I'm taking a lunch break, but it's like a change of pace, a change of scenery. And it's usually like, kind of thinking through things and processing and stuff. And then I come back and now I can go and actually like get it done. I've just been
right,
kind of, planning out in my head and stuff. But yeah, and then I guess that leads me to my last one, which we kind of touched on in other ways, but David mentioned having work hours and stuff. That's hugely important. At least for me, like when it's 5 p.m., I'm done, then I'm in family mode. I don't think about work too much. I can still get like Slack messages from my team and stuff and kind of keep tabs on stuff, but it's very minimal. I have that clear separation. So it's a clear like location separation, workplace, home place, relaxed place, and then also time-based separation too, where it's like, it's the weekend, I'm not working. Obviously, there's certain times, deadlines, things come up, you have to, but having dedicated work time where you do work and dedicated time where you don't work, I think is hugely important for being able to stay focused when working from home. Because if you think about it, if you work for another company and you have an office, you go home and that's it, right? You don't typically work from home.
right.
At least I never did. It's like, I'm not going to,
Heck no.
take up my weekend working for someone else, and I'm not getting paid anything extra for. Obviously, there's different jobs and careers where that's kind of more expected. But it's like if I'm going to be working on the weekend, I want it to be for my business,
Right.
not for someone else.
Absolutely. Well, we hope those tips have helped you with staying focused while working at home. I think there's a lot more people doing that than there ever has been, and I expect that number to increase more and more as time goes by and technology advances. Um, Personally, I believe we're all going to be in virtual environments with eye goggles on, and Tim's going to be sitting right next to me in the same room recording this podcast in the future. So, hey, there's a glimpse of what it's going to be like in the future. Tomorrow, we've got another great episode, how to search any WordPress website. Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.